Hello, my friends. So this is very rushed, very quick, very unplanned, very no makeup, very bra strap showing quick video update because my last video, which was a couple weeks ago, I said I'm gonna come on and I'm gonna make weekly videos and I'm gonna do this and that and the other thing. And then sort of the world fell apart and a lot of I think I mentioned on my last video that a lot of people in my family were dealing with terminal illnesses that sort of bumped up and so I wasn't at home and yeah. So I wanted to make a video today just to say a couple things. So this is, if you don't know me, I'm Elizabeth. I don't even know what this new intro should be. If you don't know me, go watch my last video, I guess. Um but I just want to hit on a couple of quick things. I know I said this wasn't predominantly going to be about weight loss anymore, but I do have something going on with that tomorrow, so I wanted to mention that, and then I'll talk about some other bigger picture things. But so, raise your hand if you had a VSG. Oh, do you guys know Leo DiCaprio? I know you knew Dale Cooper, but this is the new cat. Dale Cooper is still alive. He's living with my son. But yeah, this is Leonardo DiCaprio. He was named that because I was watching the Titanic when I decided to basically pay my friend's son to give me his cat. So he did it happily for $50. So it was a good move on both our parts. But if you had VSG, so I had starting weight was 402 pounds. Weight loss surgery weight was 360.6. Lowest weight loss surgery weight was like 198.8 for 2 seconds. When I had plastic surgery in 2020, December of 2020, I think my weight was around 230 pounds. I had plastic surgery, started regaining, started GLP-1s about 3 years ago, off and on because of supply issues. My weight then was 265, I think, and my weight last week was 184 pounds. My weight today is 190.6 pounds because I had to go off my GLP-1s for what's happening tomorrow. So anyway, I had surgery 11 years ago. A long time. I had my surgery at Kaiser. They only follow you for 5 years. And it was after, and I also switched insurance companies, but not during that 5 years. But it was after that 5 years. I was pretty a patient of VSG pretty early after they started doing them. And so it was more than 5 years after my surgery that they started to realize that there were a lot of esophageal complications with VSG and with reflux, and then the potential damage that that reflux does to your esophagus could lead to Barrett's esophagus, which could lead to esophageal cancer, et cetera, et cetera. So I was made more clearly aware of that by Dr. Weiner, who many of you know. He's Bound for Cure. Pound for Cure. I'll put his link in the bottom because he is doing a lot on GLP-1s and has a lot of great resources on his YouTube channel. And I did a podcast with him a while back that I'll also stick on there. But anyway, Dr. Weiner, and it might have been during that podcast, had basically said that if you've had VSG, you need to have an endoscopy every 2 years to see what's going on with your esophagus. So, I had never had an endoscopy, and I've had extreme reflux and GERD issues for at least the past 4 or 5 years that I treat with over-the-counter omeprazole at like double the recommended dose, which is probably not a good idea. So I'm having my endoscopy tomorrow, and I just noticed when I was looking at the papers that it said endoscopy and biopsy, which makes me a little nervous. But so number one, I wanted to make sure that everyone knew that because I did not know that, and if I wasn't still in some way connected to the weight loss surgery community, I would not have known that. The fix, if you are having that, is generally a revision to R and Y. Club soda, the thing I was most afraid I would not be able to drink after weight loss surgery. I love my bubbles. So that's usually the fix for the problem. So I don't know if that's in my future. Not thrilled about the idea if it is, but we'll see what's happening with that. But I just wanted everybody to know that if you have a VSG, you should be getting an endoscopy every couple of years, particularly I think if you have GERD or reflux. So that's happening tomorrow. I'm on. So I had to go. You have to be off Zepbound. You have to be off GLP-1s for a complete week. So basically, my last shot was 2 weeks ago. And some people say that they can go off these drugs and not gain weight. That is impossible for me. As you can see, I've gained like 6 pounds. My last shot was the 12th, August 12th. So it was out of my system on the 19th. So basically, in a week, I've gained 6 pounds. Not good. So today is a liquid diet. And then at midnight, I have to stop eating or drinking anything. And of course, because somebody's telling me I can't eat something, I'm basically want to eat everything that is not tied down. So I had to go to the store and get cream of tomato and onion soup and chicken broth and vanilla pudding and all the things I can eat between now and the next 6 hours. So anyway, I wanted to make sure people did that. And the other thing I just want to touch on, because this is already getting long, is so I've got a lot of stress right now. I've got a lot of stress as it relates to these health problems and my family, and just trying to be there and show up and support everybody who is going through them and the family members that are closer, just trying to be there and show up and take shifts and hang out. And there was a period where we thought my stepfather was actually going to pass away about 2 weeks ago. And so I went up there to be there to help my brothers and his wife. He's my ex-stepfather, but we're still a tightly connected family. And then he did end up passing away, so I came home last week. So, but I've got that. We're having, serious, I work for a nonprofit that focuses on authentic representation in media because of the things that are happening in this country. We are having serious issues around, just cash flow and donations, as most nonprofits are right now. And the need is so great in areas that are, on a scale considerably more important than what we do. So having to deal with that, and as a member of the leadership team, figuring out what that's going to mean for other people and for our future is pretty stressful. So there's that. And what do you do? And I've noticed that I am so incredibly absent-minded. I can't remember things. I can't capture words. And I realize that is completely due to stress. So I'm just curious. We're in a big, quote unquote, me time era for women. Not just for women, but me time, which often translates to a mani-pedi or a massage. And, I think what we need as women in these times when, as caregivers, everything is so stressful. Naturally, as caregivers, not saying that men don't caregive. I think men are amazing. I have a son, but I'm just saying I think women tend to step in more often in families to help. Me time getting a mani pedicure isn't enough right now. So what are things, I'm curious to hear, what are things that you all think of is really things that refresh and renew your mental health when there's a lot of other things going on? I did go to Northern California this weekend with my friend and to visit my friend and saw Air Supply. Raise your hand if you know who Air Supply is. All their songs have the word love in them. After we went to that concert, I was like, I really want to know the relationship history of these guys because all these songs can't be about the same person. But I went to see them at this amazing venue in Saratoga in Northern California called the Mountain Winery. And it was just so beautiful and so lovely and such a lovely night. And then the next day, my flight was delayed, but that was okay because I ended up having time at the airport and I bought a great book and I had delicious corn chowder. And it was just at such a pace where work wasn't on my mind, other people weren't necessarily on my mind, and I could just be. And let me tell you, I think that has reboosted me for another maybe 4 to 6 weeks. But I'd love to hear the things that you all do to sort of relieve stress during stressful times. Give me some pointers. All right. Love you all, and I will try to get on a regular schedule as soon as things calm down a little bit.